The area has gone out of control, right? So that's what we're missing. We're kind of missing on both fronts. Like training and understanding and common sense is missing in law enforcement. Why? Because if you went down to any police academy tomorrow and I showed you and you just had a chance to observe the training, you know what you're going to see? Basically it's going to be this obsession with the guy or girl who's physically tough.
Right.
Good with their hands.
Right.
Look at him, greatest, fighter, ground fighter. Wow, what a great boxer. Man, they can shoot well. Holy cow, look at them with the baton. Honestly, what really should be happening, and if I had the opportunity to be the crime czar, hopefully someday I will, maybe you never know. If I had the opportunity to be training about how to talk to people, how to understand their motivation, how to be a true community policer, which is missing in law enforcement. The respect goes to the guy who can whack you over the fucking head with a baton, not the guy who can sit there and say, hey, listen, I understand what you're going through. This is a problem. Now, you got to be safe. You got to protect yourself, but that shouldn't be the first thing. That shouldn't be if I got to go to my gun right out of the box, we got a problem. If I got to kneel on your throat right out of the box while you're handcuffed, we got a problem.
No, but I think the exhaust pipe of that car was right over his face.
Right over his face. And no one had the balls to just say, get off him, dude. We'll talk about it later. I can't tell you how many times as a young agent or a young military officer, my peers and I would butt heads. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You wrote up a report that is inaccurate, because in the Bureau, we don't tape record it. We don't tape anything. There's no cameras or anything. I go out and interview you about a situation. I'm not supposed to put opinion in there. I'm supposed to put facts of what you said. It's your statement. I'm writing it. I'm memorializing what you told me. And I would have fights and arguments. Even when I was a boss, I would look and say, this is opinion. You're taking what he said and you're turning it into what you want it to say. You have to be to the point on that part. Or in the military, out and talking to people or talking to towns leader or whatever, and be like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? We don't do it that way. We listen to what they have to say. We make them collaborative partners in what we're doing. Nobody does that anymore. Police academies don't even teach it.
Really?
Don't even teach it. They teach interview and interrogation, which is great. That should be part of it. Social, being able to socialize with the community that you serve.
Yeah, that's something. Period. That's something that's mandatory for survival in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. You have to be able to integrate with the civilians.
You better, because they'll sell you out in 2 seconds.
Because you need them.
You don't have them, you're done. And if you pay them, they get murdered. So you better be careful.
Right.
You better be careful what you do. You're dealing with life and death. So are we on the streets here. There's an old thing that I love. I love the show NYPD Blue. I think Andy Sipowicz is the best character in the history of TV. He just is, And there's a session in there where he's teaching his son, who later gets murdered for doing exactly what he taught him to do, and he blames himself for the rest of his life. But there's a section at the end of one of the episodes where he's teaching his son about surveillance and about knowing your beat. And he says, son, you got to know your beat. He said, there's 4 things you need to know: people, places, the things they do, and the times they do them. And he goes on to tell this story about how one night on Christmas Eve, he saw a couple of characters go into this toy warehouse. 2 seconds later, they came out with a gun and they were walking down. And he says, and I was just about ready to go up and pull my gun. And I recognized it as the owner of the toy factory. And I said to him, what are you doing? He said, I'm bringing a toy gun home for my kid. It's Christmas Eve. He said, had I not known what was going on in my area, I would have shot and killed him on Christmas Eve. He said, so that's the important piece. We're missing that in law enforcement. We're missing that in training, understanding, because there's this great value placed on being able to, knock your side, wrestle you to the ground by, he took this guy out over the car. Well, you know what? That's going to backfire on you someday. And it has in many ways. Be a community policer. Listen to people who have done it before. I'd rather be able to talk to someone and figure it out. And I've done it in many places around the world. And my life, here I am. Here I sit. I survived it. I'm a survivor. Be a survivor.
Going back to what we were talking about
and I'm passionate about that, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm too. I'm too. About the, like, even going back to using the judicial system as an example of human nature. Most humans have a deep desire to get better and to advance their lives and advance their careers and grow and evolve. I mean, just like technology keeps evolving, we want to make new iPhones, new, bigger, and better things. It's the problem is the people that want to become policemen with the amount of money they make. If you're somebody who's like yourself, you're passionate about this, you believe in this, you obviously are an ambitious individual. Do you think a lot of the people that are police officers now are the same type of people? They're ambitious. Are they going to end up being a policeman? I don't know how much an average police officer makes, but it can't be much more than 50 grand a year.
Depending on the area. I mean, obviously, some towns up in New Jersey, they're starting at 100.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying. I think most of the young officers that I know or I've mentored or had the opportunity to be around are driven individuals who want to make a difference, want to do the right thing, want to make a difference, want to be a leader in their community, want to be respected, want to have an honorable job, want to be able to look to both sides and say, okay, I'm respecting the community. I've done what I'm supposed to be doing. My problem is when that is not respected within the ranks of that young police officer's world. It can get rocked quickly. You ass kiss. What are you doing? Always trying to work these second shifts. What are you screwing me over? I got a second job. I need that shift. That stuff starts to happen. And then it's the stories. The stories are all the same. Oh, this dude, I stopped him. He started to mouth off, so I locked him up. I put him in the back of the car.
Right.
Who gives it? That's the easy thing to do. So I think you don't go into law enforcement to make money. You truly don't, because it's not there. The money is not, but it's a consistent, honorable, steady job when done properly. It's making a difference. It's serving something bigger than yourself. Truly, the thing that I fell in love with the military, with West Point, the military, and the FBI, always serving something bigger than myself.
Right.
Not just being about me. Now where I'm at now, I use that training and experience, and I use the credibility that I earned over time in order to do more for myself, for my family, for the people to have an impact on the people I work with, the clients I work with, right? But along the way, I never lose focus on that. I think that's what's missing. The respect for that, the respect for, hey, look at this young person who wants to do more. That's why I love being around mentoring service academy kids or ROTC kids that want to go in, because I see the passion. I see the passion as a servant leader. I see them wanting to do more, not just for them, not just the easy, hey, this is going to be awesome for me. I want to easy, basically easy peasy. Here's my reward, immediate gratification.
Right.
It's not the case in servant leadership. So we're missing a little of that.
I don't think it's the majority of police officers that fall into this category.
No, definitely not. Some of the greatest people I know have served and served honorably.
Same.